This is, yes, as you know, some radicals are doing unacceptable activities using the name of Islam. And they are the main reason why so many people today have so many wrong ideas about Islam. However, is the religion of peace. Islam is religion of peace and freedom and modernism. How do you think we can help the people of the world, all over the world, open their eyes to this fact?
Well, I think it has to be a cooperative effort. First of all, just in terms of an earlier comment, in terms of the authentic view of Islam, in which terrorism, suicide terrorism, targeting of innocent people would be a violation of Islam and the Quran. I just seen a book written by Bernard Lewis, one of the most prominent interpreters of Islam, in which he said, definitely, there is no basis for that in the Quran. It clearly is a violation.
Yes,
in terms of the image of Islam around the world, I think it has to be a cooperative effort on several sides. I mean, there have been situations in which I've heard about that Muslim leaders have condemned actions of this sort. For instance, in my synagogue, I'll hear something like, oh, there was a terror attack, and okay, even if it's a minority who are doing this, how come there isn't an outcry from the larger majority? How come there's no condemnation from the others, the good people, the decent religious leaders, those who believe in the higher ideals and maybe the authentic ideals? The answer is, I think that the media has not given it sufficient attention. We go back to the earlier point, right? And then we're dealing with, I mean, even in terms of discourse with my own community, trying to present that more moderate, balanced view. Certainly there is extremism in the Muslim world, and I think that the cooperative part also has to be a clear statement on behalf of Muslim leaders that this is unacceptable, just in the Israeli context. When there have been some criminal actions totally unacceptable against religious shrines or against individual Arabs, it's definitely met with the complete condemnation of religious leaders, of political leaders, etc. So it's not enough that the majority doesn't take part, the majority has to speak out as well. But again, I think it's a cooperative effort. I think that the West has to be able to see the Muslim world in a larger context and not see the Muslim world just as a threat. Yeah. And has to be also the statements heard within the Muslim world and education to the contrary of the extremism also given prominence and attention.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jerry, can we have a comment, please?
Yeah, definitely. I've been doing quite a bit of reading the last week on Sharia law because a lot of what I find is that people want to blame Sharia law on a lot of the radicalism. And the ironic thing about that is that most people do not know Sharia law. They hear claims that this is why it happens or this is why that happens, and oh, it's Sharia law, which actually Sharia means law. So I'm always kind of taken back when I see somebody use that on some of these social sites, Sharia law. It's like, okay, law. But anyways, to get past that, one of the goals, Maqasid al-Sharia, or the goals and objectives of Islamic law, out of an essay by Dr. Muhammad Hassim Kamali. What he says is this an evidently important and yet somewhat neglected theme of Sharia. Generally, the Sharia is predicated on the benefits of the individual and that of the community, and its laws are designed so as to protect these benefits to facilitate improvement and perfection of the condition of human life on earth. And these are the basics of Sharia law. The Quran is expressive of this when it singles out the most important purpose of the prophethood of Muhammad, peace be upon him, in such terms as we have not sent you but a mercy to the world, which is 2107. This can also be seen perhaps in the Quran's characterization of itself in that it is a healing to the spiritual element of the heart's guidance and mercy for the believers and of mankind, which is 1057. So a lot of the radicalism that we see is a lot of people say, well, it's Sharia, that's Sharia law, because there are a lot of places in the West especially, you hear people that are are panicking that, oh, Sharia law is going to take over the U.S. The thing about this is most people don't understand Sharia law. It is actually put in place, and what it is for is to protect the individual and to protect society from stuff like radicalism. So the education part, definitely, the history, the education of Islam and of Judaism even, going back to the time of the Ottomans and up through history, there are a lot of traditions and even Romanticism that get mixed in with what people consider Sharia law. Just as interpretations of the Bible or the Talmud or the any of the other books of the Bible even, there are interpretations that can be wrong. And the same goes for the law. Even in the U.S., the law we have here can be misinterpreted, just as Sharia law can be misinterpreted. So education is definitely a very high on that. And even in Sharia law, the educating of the individual, which is Tahib al-Far, is another important objective of Sharia, so much so that it comes in priority over justice and or masala. They're both socially oriented values which acquire much of their meaning in the content and context of social relations. And this comes from Sharia law. So part of Sharia law that people I don't think understand is that one of the major importances of Sharia law is education. It is as a Muslim, it is our duty to educate others in Sharia law so that this stuff doesn't happen. So I think the education part is very big on all sides. There's bigotry in all religions, and not even in atheism. There's bigotry, but it still stems from a lack of education and from traditionalism.
Definitely.